All right. Says we're live. You guys let me know if we are live because inside the YouTube studio, it's not showing me anything. So all I see is a black screen. Apparently we were live last time. So let me know. If you can see me, throw that down in the chat and we'll roll from there. I'll go ahead and get the newsletter set up though. It appears YouTube wants to provide some adversity this morning, but we will push through or we'll go straight into the analysis if it still wants to cause issues. Let me know, though, for sure in the chat if you can see me, hear me, all that stuff. Let me see. I'm going to check now. Okay, nice. Says I'm good. Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, I believe the chat might be a little bit. Okay, nice. Thank you. Appreciate it. All right. Awesome. So we're going to roll with it. He said, I can see you. Awesome. Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, it's I guess the chat is a little bit delayed. But thank you guys for letting me know. I appreciate it. Y'all holding me up, providing me that support as always. I thank God for you each and every day. So we'll continue pressing on. I see a black screen, but as long as you guys can see me, we're all good and we'll roll from there. Hope you guys had a great night's sleep and, you're ready to take on the day today. We've got a full day of market events ahead, and I'm excited to take that on with you guys. And as always, we're here to get 1% better. We've got a lot of different opportunities here that we were diving into yesterday. It's a beautiful time to hop into long swing positions. It's just important to know which stocks to jump in and at what point. And we're having, a lot of great entry points across the board here. And I'm glad that we could take advantage of those and really, really set up for the abundance that 2024 has to offer. There's a lot of opportunity. There's a lot of ability to multiply your money and put it to work. There are a lot of very, very fun, interesting, high prospect, high value stocks that have been, beaten down and they're, looking to make their return and they're showing those signs, right, of striking back. And I'm excited that we're in a community and in an environment that is, predicated upon seeing those signs, positioning, and then profiting from them, right, to make sure that we are ahead of the curve and closing the gap between where we are and where we want to be. So, as always, make sure you throw your 1 in the chat, signifying your intention to get 1% better by the end of this session. This is the Premarket Prep session. We go over news, analysis, notes. We lay the groundwork for the week and make sure that you're sidestepping those landmines and not overstepping those gold mines when it comes to opportunities in the market. And today, our top news going cuckoo for cocoa. So let's dive into that. It's not only Sonny the cuckoo bird, but traders these days cannot get enough of chocolatey goodness. Supply shortages saw cocoa futures surge well past the $9,000 per ton level on Monday as a record rally that started in early 2023 shows no signs of letting up. In fact, cocoa beans are not only more expensive than other popular commodities like copper, but recent returns also outpaced popular investments like Nvidia and Bitcoin over the past month on a year-to-date basis. That's what's so fun about markets and what's going on. Like everyone who's caught up in FOMO, there's no reason to be. There's always something moving, always something going on, and we won't be involved in all of it. But there is always something that's happening. So it's just a sign to, not let things stress you out. As long as you are executing at some point, right, and getting things done at some point, you're not just saying, oh, I missed out on this, it's fine, there'll be another thing, and then you miss out on everything, right? You don't want to do that, but just because you missed out on the recent Bitcoin rally or the recent Nvidia rally does not mean that there's not gold or cocoa or more semiconductors or pharmaceutical companies or anything else that you can't get the wave on, right? You're right on time for a number of waves that are cresting right now. Right. The important thing is just execution because there are a number of things you haven't missed on. I mean, AI became a thing, like this new wave of AI became a thing, 2 years ago? Right. That's like you being 2 years late on the internet or the iPhone or anything. It's barely any time when it comes to paradigm shifting, world changing technology. Don't let it be 5 years late, though, or 10 years late. That is the lesson here. But there's always something, right? And it might not be the thing that's grabbing headlines because you haven't heard anything about cocoa. You've heard tons of things about Bitcoin, and yet cocoa is outpacing it. You've heard tons of things about Nvidia, right? Nothing about chocolate, and chocolate is outpacing Nvidia. In terms of snapshots, cocoa production has been dented by severe weather and crop disease in Ghana and the neighboring Ivory Coast, which together are responsible for 70% of global output. Farmers in Ghana also sell their cocoa to the government under fixed contracts set at the beginning of the season, so smuggling is expected to take advantage of the higher prices. Problems surrounding forex reserves can also arise as the Ghana Cocoa Board, also known as COCOBOD, stands to lose access to a key funding facility due to a shortage of beans, which will further restrict seedlings and fertilizers to farmers. It's crazy because you don't think about like the conglomerate that is behind, the cocoa industry, but there's a lot. Quote, adding complexity is the EU's upcoming deforestation regulation that could limit output if farms don't comply, right? Seeking alpha analyst Weather Wealth, stating that investors should avoid these three stocks as cocoa prices soar. Comments on the same article warn that the run-up could also be attributed to speculation. Similar to, quote, European gas after the war in Ukraine, and thanks to the liquidity of the contract and the lack of sellers. Here it seems to replay that movie, remarks market neutral hedger. Quote, we know how it will end, but when? So what to watch? Spending on candy and chocolates will drop this Easter, according to the National Retail Federation, as manufacturers pass on rising costs to consumers. Meanwhile, and pass on meaning like they defer those costs. So essentially, candy will be more expensive. So it's expected that people don't spend as much on candy this Easter. Meanwhile, companies could continue cutting down on packaging and bar sizes or promote varieties with other ingredients. There's already an explosion of cocoa butter equivalents on the market, as well as substitutes for cocoa mass and artificial flavors. And expect some clever marketing in the near future, like, I can't believe it's not chocolate. So just like they're doing, with meat and everything else, it looks like we're also be getting some artificial chocolate, but also like what we eat in terms of candy isn't like, real chocolate anyways. So I don't think people will freak out over eating candy that isn't real, considering the fact that we've got, nerds and baby bottle pops and all this other stuff. Like obviously that's not real either. So we've crossed that hump when it comes to candy, right? We'll pop in some neon yellow sour straws like it's nobody's business, but then we see meat that might not come from a cow, and we're like, ooh, that's where I got to draw the line. It's like, really, half the other stuff, the juice that we drink, right, contains 1% juice. What's the rest of it? Half of what we eat isn't real already. So it's just like it's a weird mental thing, and it is gross to think about. But at some point, eating fake meat will be mainstream, right? And that's just, it's one of those whether you like it or not things. It's just like bananas. No bananas that exist now like used to exist, right? Bananas almost got wiped out. The only bananas that exist now are man-made genetic hybrid. Like half of what we eat isn't necessarily real, but what is real anyways? That's a different conversation for a different time. Just stuff to think about. Aviation Boeing overhaul. Boeing, ticker BA, is shaking up its management with 3 top-level executives stepping down in the wake of quality issues that raised the ire of authorities and airline customers. Yeah, probably. With all these people dead and witnesses dead and doors flying off and, wings being held together by duct tape, I'd say that the whole like swaths of management at every level should be replaced. CEO Dave Calhoun will resign at year end, while Stan Deal, head of its commercial airplanes unit, will retire immediately, and board chair Larry Kellner won't stand for re-election. The changes come as Boeing grapples with intense scrutiny after a 737 MAX 9 mid-flight blowout. Boeing shares opened higher on Monday, but later paired gains to close up 1.4%. It's just crazy that the stock isn't dropping like a brick given the news. It did drop a lot. It seems that it would drop more, but they like this, executive shakeup. That's why we play the charts, not our hearts, right? Doesn't matter what we think should happen. What matters is what manifests in terms of price action. Legislation, social verifications. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis has signed a bill banning children under 14 from joining social media platforms and requiring those aged 14 to 15 to get parental consent before creating an account. The HB3 bill, which targets social media companies, also requires apps to use age verification to block minors from accessing inappropriate sites. Quote, this level of data collection will put Floridians' privacy at risk, and it violates their constitutional rights, warned NetChoice, a trade group whose members include Google and Meta. The bill signing comes weeks after DeSantis vetoed a more stringent bill called HB1. Social media is a big problem, especially when it comes to teenagers and developing minds. It's already proven to have a palpable negative effect. Um, I just feel like kids can get around anything. So, like, do I think it'll work? I don't know. Is his heart in the right place? Yes. Does DeSantis also do like a lot of other dumb stuff? And does Florida do a lot of dumb stuff, like trying to not teach about slavery anymore in schools, even though it's a part of history? And if we don't learn about it, we're doomed to repeat it. Yeah. So, with this, I think the intent is in the right place. And I think it's necessary. Do I think it'll be successful? I feel like you guys know how you were when you were kids. I know how I was when I was a kid. If you want to get something done, you figure out a way to get it done. So, um, yeah, that's how I see that going. Unless they require you to like put in an ID or something, but also like whose dad is like stringently watching their wallet, right? Or mom. At the end of the day, your parent could be cooking dinner and you're like, oh, let me get that ID. You snap a picture of their ID. You're like, yeah, this is parental consent. This is a picture of a legally, over 18 person who is my guardian. And you sign a little fake signature and you keep it pushing. So it's like, how do you actually enforce this is the tough thing, because it would not be hard to circumvent what seems like the things that they have in play. It might help with younger kids, right? But older kids, like the teenagers, they definitely have the devious minds. They can work their way around it. M&A news: we bid. Adam Newman, founder and former CEO of WeWork, has reportedly made a more than $500 million bid to buy back his old company. The bid could also go up to as high as $900 million, pending due diligence. Newman stepped down as CEO and gave up his majority voting control in September 2019. Crazy to think that was 5 years ago, but has wanted to retake the helm of WeWork for some time. The co-working space provider filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy last year due to a combination of financial troubles, mismanagement, demand, and high interest rate environment. That would be funny if after all this comes full circle. They paid that guy so much money to leave. He has enough money. He got paid enough money to leave the company. He could easily come back and buy the company with it. Now he started other, ventures and endeavors, but like he was paid multiple billions of dollars to leave that company, and now he's trying to buy it back for less than $1 billion. Crazy. Looking mostly green across the board here. Bitcoin back up to around 71,000. Today's economic calendar: consumer confidence at 10 a.m. That'll be important, right? So at 10 a.m., make sure that you tell your trusty voice assistant to set a reminder. 10 a.m. consumer confidence data that can move us. What else is happening? Maersk chartered ship that rammed into Baltimore Bridge. That was crazy. That happened this morning. It actually happened in Dundalk, about a half an hour from me. So that's like a bridge that connects Dundalk to like Baltimore City. So really sad. Apparently the ship lost power because the ship just ran directly into a pylon, collapsed the bridge, and there were construction workers on the bridge and cars. It was 1:30 in the morning, so not a ton of cars, but I think at least 10 to 12 cars were on the bridge. Really sad. Prayers up for all the families that are involved. But yeah, just crazy. And apparently they had no power. I don't know if that affects them sending out a distress call, because they sent out no distress calls. So it's also like kind of a national security issue. It's just tough, right? It's tough knowing that AI is a thing, and that, as of right now, the national security implications are so high with the tensions that we have with Russia, Ukraine, Gaza, everywhere else, right? Insert whoever we have antagonistic relationships with here. It's just tough, right? Especially that ship is coming from overseas, right? So coming from Sri Lanka, who knows what stops it made along the way, who's on the ship, what's going on. So I'm sure there'll be some investigation as to what happened, but as of right now, just really, really sad, for everyone involved. And we've talked about, Maersk in the past. AB Moeller Maersk, they're a huge, logistics and shipping company. So this will definitely affect them. They're not publicly traded here, though, like on um, where we can access them. Goldman stays bullish on commodities ahead of rate cuts. Top oil field services firm SLB has no plans to exit Russia. Central bank digital currency Swift eyes new platform. Fisker to be delisted from New York Stock Exchange due to abnormally low price. Another EV bites the dust here. Trump Media, ticker DJT, set to trade today as SPAC deal closes. Meme stock Reddit, ticker RDDT, soars again after 30% rally on Monday. Ericsson, ticker Eric, slashes staff due to challenging networks market. And then Supreme Court to decide on access to widely used abortion pill. So that'll wrap us up here today, March 26, 2024. Like I said before, we've got a lot of different good looking stocks on the docket. If you're not here, you're not executing with us, you're not taking advantage of these opportunities, make sure you reach out. Super easy. Send me a DM, send me an email, and you can get started with us. But there are some beautiful, beautiful spots to position your money that don't come around very often. And you also have it, the perks of this being an election year and also a year where rates are going to be decreased. Do not miss out. There's not many times you can look and say, okay, we've got a lot of downtrends being broken, a lot of bullish things that are happening. And then we've also got things coming down the pipeline where it's in the president's best interest to keep us looking good against against whatever the long-term repercussions can be. He needs to make the market look good and the U.S. look good heading into an election year. Right. And then also we have interest rates that have to drop this year, and they're already going to drop at least 3 times this year. Right. So that is just the perfect agglomeration of positive bullish benefits where you cannot ask for a layup better than that. And it does not happen very often. Probably count on one hand in history that those things have happened at the same time, election year and rates decreasing. So don't let it pass you by. That's all I'm trying to say. Don't let it pass you by. Make sure you hop in here. You're executing with us. And for everybody that already is, I'm excited to keep it going, right? And to see how hard our money can work for us. So everybody have a great rest of the day. I'll see you back here tomorrow morning for our next pre-market prep session. Have a good one.